Welcome back. In this video, I'd like to show you a new 3D feature that we can use in Fusion 360. So let's create a new document and start a new sketch. And this time I want you to select your side face. Then go ahead and pick your circle tool, make it coincident with your origin, click and drag, and you'll notice that it wants to measure in millimeters. Let's change that to inches. And actually, instead of changing it to inches every time you open a document, I'm going to show you a way you can make it your standard. So let's go over here to our profile and select Preferences. And give it a second to open up. And when it's open, go over here to your default units and select Design. And we can make it anytime we open up a new design. It'll be measured in inches. Hit Apply and OK. And now this document is still measured in millimeters, so let's close it out. We don't want to save it. And let's start another new one. And this time you'll see it's measured in inches. So let's start a new sketch again. Go to our side view. And this time when we go to our circle tool, if we make it coincident with the center, we drag, you'll see that it's measured in inches instead of millimeters. Let's give this circle a diameter of 1.5 inches and hit Enter. Now you'll notice that the circle is already fully constrained because we told it how big it's going to be and we told it to be stuck to the center. I'm going to zoom in to make it a little bit bigger. And I want to add a line through the center of this circle. And so I'm going to hover until I find the top of this circle. And I'm going to drag down to the bottom. And I want it to lock on to the edge of the circle. I'm going to right click and hit OK. Now you'll notice that my line is not fully constrained. It's still blue. And so whenever my geometry is still blue, I like to click on it and see why. And so if I click on this line, I can't get it to do anything. What happens if I click on the end here? What if I click on this point? Well, now we can see what I can do to it. I can drag it left and right. And so both ends of this line are stuck to the edge of the circle, and it's stuck vertical, but it's not being told where to be stuck within the circle. So to fix that, I'm going to go to my coincident constraint. I'm going to select my origin and my line to tell them to always be stuck in the same place. And now you can see we have a fully constrained sketch. I'm going to right click and hit OK to exit my coincident constraint and finish my sketch. And then hit my home button on my view cube. And I could take this shape and extrude it, so I could drag that out, or I could do both ends if I wanted to. But I want to show you a new feature today, the Revolve tool. So go ahead and select it. And when you do, the first thing it asks is what profile do you want to use? And all a profile is a shape. And so I'm going to select this circle on the right. And the second thing we need to select is an axis. So right now it's asking me to select profile. So I'm going to click off of profile and go to axis. And then I'm going to pick my axis that I want to use. I want this line right here. So I'm going to click on it. And you can kind of see what happens. It sort of makes this sphere. And if you come down here and click, you can kind of see how the revolution tool works. If you bring it around, you can see how it takes this profile that we selected and revolves it around that center axis. I'm going to type in an angle of 360 degrees and hit OK. And now we've used the Revolve tool to create a sphere. And if we want to design this to make it look cool, we can right click on the body and go down to Appearances. Or we can open up our appearances by selecting the letter A on our keyboard. And so this can be a little confusing and a little overwhelming when you first look at it. But essentially what's going on is it's saying the appearance of this design contains this steel satin material. And if I double click on it, I can play with the colors. And so I can drag this over and change the color if I want. But I can also change the material. And so if I scroll down to the bottom of my Appearances tab, you can see there's all kinds of materials in here. And some of them I need to download to use, and some of them are already in my library. And so if I want to change it to some other material, let me scroll up to the top and, I don't know, I'll select fabric and open this up. All I have to do is drag this fabric onto my body. And you'll see now it'll change into this fabric. And if I double click on that, I can edit this as well. Now this specific material, it looks like we can't play with the colors, but we can play with the scale. Or we can play with the rotation of the fabric. And I'm going to hit done to get out of this. Now personally, I don't want the fabric. You can play around with it and find some other material if you want. I'm going to select my steel back and drag this onto the body. And I'm going to delete fabric out of here. And I think I'm going to change the color to a blue color. and maybe a little bit lighter blue. Let me move it over here and then over here, and that looks pretty awesome in my opinion. I'm going to hit done. I'm going to close out my appearances tab and have fun with it. Make it look cool, make it look unique, make it your own. And when you're done, go to save and call it sphere or ball or whatever you want to name it, as long as you can find it over here in your project folder. And then we are done with this shape.